Yo, what's going on, everybody? You're watching Giants Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green, and we've got some breaking news surrounding the New York Giants. We'll talk about Mark Glowinski as the New York Giants are expected to cut him and save about $5.7 million in cap space. We'll break that down as well as some other Giants cap cut casualties. But I want to start today's show talking about one of the bigger storylines across the National Football League, and that is tight end Darren Waller contemplating retirement. Reports came out from the New York Post yesterday via Paul Schwartz as well as Ryan Dunleavy that the veteran tight end had told people inside the New York Giants facilities that he was contemplating retirement earlier this offseason. But Schwartz and Dunleavy reported that the retirement saga and thoughts had come to a close as the Giants had talked to Darren Waller's agent, Drew Rosenhaus. This is what the New York Post wrote. Earlier in the day, the Giants spoke with Waller's agent, Drew Rosenhaus, and based on that conversation, were convinced that Waller was going to return for a second season with the New York Football Giants. Apparently, that might not be the case. Waller said, quote, "I have not made a decision either way." And this is a big sticking point for the New York Giants. We told you guys last week and almost a month ago that we had started to hear rumors that the Giants were at least thinking about cutting Darren Waller. And also, License Plate Guy went on Talking Giants, one of the best podcasts out there. Check him out, YouTube, all the streaming services. Shout out to Justin and Bobby as well. LPG, one of the most tapped in people amongst the New York Giants fan base, said he did not think Waller was going to be back next year. His reasoning for that, whatever it was, talked about a rap career, but I don't believe License Plate Guy would go out and say something like this unless he had heard something behind closed doors like we had here at the channel. So Waller still contemplating retirement. What does that mean for the New York Giants? If Darren Waller does retire this offseason, he would have a dead cap hit of $7.8 million on the Giants salary cap books, and they would save $6.2 million in cap space. Compared to if the Giants cut him, it would be just $7.3 million in dead money and $6.7 million in cap savings. So about a $500,000 difference when it comes to cap savings if he retires or if they cut him. So not that much of a difference. The question is it going to be a major blow for the Giants if Waller does retire? And my answer to that would be major, no, but it would definitely be a little bit of a loss. I mean, if you look at Waller's stats throughout the year, they weren't really all that eye-popping. Had 2 games of more than 80 receiving yards, 3 games of more than 70 yards. But at one point in the NFL, if you go back to week 7, Waller was number 1 in the National Football League in receiving yards amongst tight ends. Is he the guy that we thought we were getting when we traded that 3rd-round pick that we got in the Kadarius trade to the Las Vegas to receive Waller? No, he's not one of the best tight ends in the NFL anymore, and his best days are obviously behind him. But he's still a player that I think puts a little bit of fear in the defensive coordinator's heart every single night as they game plan for this football team, and he gives you another weapon, a big body target that can make contested catches up the seam. I think Waller still has some juice left in the tank, but I am 100% worried about the injuries. Caused him to miss another 5 games this year due to a hamstring injury. Last 2 years he's missed time because of injuries. The year before his last season, with the Las Vegas Raiders, he missed a lot of time because of that chronic hamstring injury. And supposedly that is what is making Waller kind of contemplate this retirement. Waller, according to the New York Post, the Waller in 2019 and 2020 combined for over 197 receptions for 2,341 yards and 12 touchdowns, but a hamstring and a series of hamstring injuries caused him to miss a total of 14 games in 2021 and 2022, and the Raiders had seen enough, and he strained that hamstring in week 8 with the New York Giants and missed 5 games. Supposedly, that is the injury that has Waller questioning if he still wants to participate in the National Football League for another season. A chronic injury is always something that's tough to battle with, and I can understand why Waller may have lost a little bit of that competitive edge. So that is the news right there. We do not have an answer on if Waller is going to retire or not. Well, I guess we kind of do. Waller says, "I have not made a decision either way. So we'll keep you in the loop. If we hear anything else on Darren Waller, or if he's going to retire, come back, be cut, be traded, whatever it is, we're going to break it down on this channel. That's why you subscribe. Free informative videos every day on your New York Football Giants. Coming up around the corner, we're going to break down Mark Glowinski being cut by Joe Schoen and the New York Giants and saving about $5.7 million in cap space. We'll tell you how much money the Giants are expected to have. And now we'll also give you some other cap candidates that I think could be being cut here pretty soon. But first, I got to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, PrizePicks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use that promo code CLNS, and PrizePicks will match your first deposit. Just because the NFL season is over with, college football season is over with, that does not mean your season of playing PrizePicks should come to a close. If anything, they should get started now or continue to roll on as the NBA season is heating up. Teams are fighting for home court playoff spots, as well as March Madness is right around the corner. Pick more, pick less. Play PrizePicks, create a lineup of 2 to 6 players, and simply choose more or less on their projected stat totals. It's a lot of fun, and anytime you can win real money off of your sports and ball knowledge, it makes it that much more fun. You also get to deposit $100, and they'll match it with $100 with the promo code CLNS, and you can take the money out of your account whenever you want. Check them out. All that information clickable down in the comments and description. Jeremy Fowler was the first on the news this morning, just a couple of minutes ago, saying the Giants plan to release veteran guard Mark Glowinski. Sources told Jordan Renan and me. The release of Glowinski will save the Giants $5.7 million on the salary cap. He also added Glowinski was easily the Giants' highest rated guard this past season per PFF, 25th overall with a 64.8 grade. While PFF may have thought that Glowinski was pretty good this year, I think anybody that actually watched every single Giants game like I did, and I'm sure a lot of you did, we all understood that Glowinski is not a good football player at this point. He was absolutely terrible in the opening game against the Dallas Cowboys. I believe he had a pass block grade of 0. He was awful, and look, the writing was on the wall. We've told you guys for weeks that the New York Giants were planning on cutting Mark Glowinski, but it officially happens today, which means the Giants have another roster spot to fill and a hole across the offensive line that they must address. The Giants' offensive line was one of the worst in the National Football League last year, one of the worst in NFL history, giving up 85 sacks, the second most in an NFL season. So with the cut of Mark Glowinski, the Giants are expected to have almost $38 million in cap space, which is a big number. It can get even larger, though, if you restructure Andrew Thomas, if you restructure Dexter Lawrence, 2 guys that are going to be here a while, maybe move some of that money into the future. I think that makes some sense. They can clear up to $25 million in that way, and then you can cut a guy like Gary Brightwell or Aaron Robinson, or you can cut a guy like Boogie Basham. You cut those 3 guys, you save almost $4 million in cap space. So the Giants could save almost another $32 million in cap space if they make a couple of more moves. Free agency is right around the corner, and Joe Schoen knows that he needs to improve this football team, most notably on the interior offensive line. Whether it's a guy like Jermaine Illuminor, the right tackle that played for the Las Vegas Raiders the last couple of years, has some versatility, has played some guard before, supposedly has a really strong relationship with Carmen Brasillo. You bring him in. Maybe you're looking for a guy like Hunt from the Miami Dolphins, maybe the interior offensive lineman from the Los Angeles Rams. Maybe you're trying to bring in Mike Onwenu. Whatever it is, the Giants must address the offensive line and NFL free agency, as well as the NFL draft. Because I've said it once, and I'll say it again, nothing matters until you fix the offensive line. And Joe Schoen in year 3 needs to do that, because Joe Schoen's biggest job and his biggest task that he must do when he took over as a general manager was to fix the offensive line. That was year 1. It's year 3. The offensive line has still not been fixed. The Giants, they need to do it, whether it's doubling down, whether it's tripling down. I do not want to watch another season where my quarterback is on his backside more often than not, and the offensive line causes your quarterbacks, all 3 of them, to be hurt at different points in times. So biggest news of the day, Darren Waller still contemplating retirement, and the New York Giants, they are moving on from veteran offensive lineman Mark Glowinski, the first offensive lineman the New York Giants general manager Joe Schoen signed as he started his tenure. We'll continue to update you all week long. We've heard Saquon Barkley had a good meeting with the Giants as well. So maybe there's some truth to that. I also saw that Dan Duggan in The Athletic said the franchise tag is not off the table for Saquon Barkley. So whatever happens around the Giants, we're going to keep you in the loop. So subscribe, turn your notifications on, and let's go G-Men.